Muy buena. Muy buena, sí.
All right, we are ready. And
Espérate,
thank you,
Marcelo,
Rafael.
empezaron a hablar en el otro lado.
Can you guys lower the shades behind you so that the people who are watching through the Zoom link get a better... Better now? Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody. Can everybody hear me way back? Hello, C13s in the back. You're in charge of the sound check. Okay, so you can hear me. All right. So good afternoon, everybody. We're super excited, very excited, because this is the first Holberton Puerto Rico Demo Day. Yay! Show the excitement, yes. Today, the students who have completed their foundations year get to present their projects. These projects are proposals for real, actionable, and even marketable products. They are ready to make an impact in the world, and today they will be sharing their learnings and their creativity. So, before we get to the presentations, I would like to acknowledge that we have some very important guests in the room and some people also on the Zoom link. First of all, Mr. Cyril Meduña and Adam and Lone Begling, they are the founding partners of Holberton, Puerto Rico. So we're so excited that you're here. And we're very thankful to our judges who have made themselves available today and are sharing and will be sharing their expertise and giving some feedback to you guys. So you can take that with you. They are, let me start in this corner. Veronica Colon, which happens to be the former director of Holberton, Puerto Rico, and our founding director. So welcome back. We have Sibel Betancourt. She's the executive director of the Center for Design Thinking. Thank you so much. And she's led workshops with our students. So we're really happy that she's back too. We have with us as well, Rigoberto Miranda. He's a senior software engineer at Red Ventures, which are our neighbors down the street. So thank you very much for being here. And Javier Muñiz, which is the former CDO of PrimeGov, now works for Rock Solid. We're very thankful that you're here, and we're already talking about future projects for the school and Rock Solid. So thank you very much for your time and your availability. In this corner right here, we have Jandres Zapata, who's our student success manager, and he's manning the controls. And of course, very important, the students that are back there from cohort 15 that are witnessing what's coming in some months for you guys. So take notes and learn from this, from their experience, all right? So I am Mercedes Diaz. I am Mercy Diaz. I'm the director of Holberton, Puerto Rico. And I've only been here for a few months, but this project grows on you. I feel like, you know, I completely own their work, our work. We're very happy and very satisfied. And I've seen them grow in these last few months. So I'm very happy that we're here today and that some of them are going on into future and awesome projects as well. So this is their send-off and their celebration will be coming in a week. So now let me leave you with Shayla Jones. He's our software engineer and lead instructor. Let me get away from the... And he's going to be telling you what's going to be happening and introducing the groups and just conducting the rest of the afternoon. So there you go.
What's up, everybody? Oh man, that's way too loud. That's really loud. I'll turn it down just a little bit. I know, right? I know. Better? Okay, a little bit too low. Better? Okay, yeah. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Ah, yes, that's very good. I'm super excited. This is, like Mercy was saying, this is cohort 13, our first graduating class from Holberton in Puerto Rico. Definitely our first one. And, you know, I just want to let you guys know, in case you don't know it already, your life is run by software. Everything in your life has to do with computers and all. And so these guys are going to show how they have come to master that and really be able to really go from idea into actual project that is built. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with the first team, and that would be actually Jared, my man, Jared Begwin. I'm sorry, I tried. There's too many J's. Jared, we got Jeffrey, and we got Jose. All right. All right, I love it. And they are team Find My Face. They built a really great app. It's pretty cool. Don't Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Just breathe. Go with it. It's okay.
Okay, how are you? Yes.
Give me 1 second to put the thing on the screen and then.
Oh, I get my own mic.
So thank you, Shayla and Mercy, for the introduction. So, okay, find my face. Oh, I'm sorry. Right? Oh, thank you. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Jose Fabian Rosa Santos. I'm from the Cohort team from Holberton School. This project, oh, what happened? Oh, okay. This project was created with Jeffrey Martinez and Jared Begelin. Like I said, my name is Fabian Rosa Santos. I was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I have a bachelor degree of Conservatory of Music of Puerto Rico. I'm percussionist, classical percussion. And now I am Holberton student in cohort 13.
Hello, guys. Hi, hello. Good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Martinez. I'm also part of the team. I'm a student from C13. I also had the opportunity of become and help out in the school as a student tutor. So teaching other students and providing support and sharing the knowledge has been a great experience. I've always liked that throughout my experience in different jobs. My background, I come from the hospitality industry and the performing arts, but my life was very impacted by the pandemic, and that's when I got into the opportunity of studying in Holberton. That has been quite an intense 9 years. I mean, 9 months. I'm sorry. It's been so intense that I feel like it's been years, but it's because I've been learning so much in so short period of time. So yeah, I just wanted to put out there. It's been intense, but it's been very gratifying. I've been learning a lot, and also I like, so that you know a little bit about me. I like a lot of physical activities and outdoor stuff like sports and yoga. Now I'm gonna pass to Jared.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jared Beglin. I'll keep it short and sweet. I have previous work experience as a maintenance and construction worker. I attended a CU Boulder for 1 year. My major was computer science, but I decided to take a gap year and do Holberton instead. I played a junior soccer team at Genesis Bitcoin, which Holberton allowed me to get. So I'm very thankful.
So the application itself, when we were together, we wanted to work on an application that had to do with pictures and something cool about it. So we wanted to implement a face recognition library and create a graphical user interface so that the users can have use the use of the technology, in a user-friendly way. Now we're gonna talk to you about the different technologies and stuff that we use to build up the project.
Okay, so the technology that we use was Python. We have a script for the backend that work with the photos. In this case, we use the database called MySQL for the data storage and management, and JavaScript for dynamic features on the landing page, and Apache 2 for the server. So that's how our application looks for now. So how's work? So when the user want to find a face, in a group photo, So the first thing that the user has to do is choose the photo with the face that they want to find. In this case, we use Obama photo. And the other side, the user choose a group photo, in this case, the Obama family, so the daughters and the wife. Then when the user click the find button, the application recognize, in this case, the Obama face. So if you can see, the application make a square around the faces, and just the Obama face has the name Obama. So the application recognize the first picture, the face of the Obama, in the group picture. And the other faces has the name of no person, because the application doesn't recognize that faces. Challenges.
Some of the challenges that we went through working with this application was firsthand experience dealing with image files. Image files are way bigger than just text files. So therefore, whenever you're gonna handle storage, is way more difficult. You have to take into consideration many different aspects about it. Also, the validation when the user is gonna input, submit that image for so that we can process it. We had a lot of difficulty dealing with that because we wanted to make sure that it won't break the application. There's many things that could happen, like half loaded images and stuff. They're corrupted files. So there's also more different other challenges that Jared's gonna tell you about.
All right, so a major challenge that we dealt with was the facial recognition threshold. So when working with this library, you actually have a threshold of similarities between two faces that you have to surpass before the program recognizes that it's a match, right? So under different circumstances, you'd want different levels, like different, you want to be able to, okay, there we are. You want to be able to adjust your threshold based on the circumstances. For example, like two straight on shots, the same person in the same lighting conditions, you'd probably want a very high threshold because you don't want any false positives. But say, for example, if it's the same face, but from different angles and different lighting conditions, then you'd want the threshold to be much lower, right? So a big challenge for us was deciding if we wanted to implement or give the user the ability to adjust the threshold through the website, or if we wanted just the default threshold to apply for every face and kind of just go with like having false positives and negatives, you know. So we chose to do is we chose to leave that feature out and implement it later. And our main goal right now is to build a viable product that we can just use and run and it'll work smoothly. So yeah, other features that we were originally going to implement were stuff like having support for multiple images. So if you want to compare find one face in a library of images, or have a library of faces that you want to find in one group photo, or compare libraries to libraries, that's something that we wanted to have. But it sounds simple, but the implementation of that is a little bit more complex than what we need to do right now. So that was another challenge, is just having all these ideas for features that we wanted to build into the program from the start, and then not being able to, and having to cut them for simplicity's sake. And that's it.
Yeah, that's the resource that we use, the Fader Connection repo with the library, Apache, MySQL, developer Maxilla, and for the slideshow, the slides goes. So
we are currently on LinkedIn. In case you guys want to connect with us, there's our how you can connect with us through LinkedIn to see like more about us if you guys are interested to know more about our profile individually. So, and of course, thanks for coming, and it's been quite a journey. So we're very grateful to have you here as our guests.
thank you.
They actually really forgot to mention that Jeffrey and Jared here both had jobs. So that is part of the reason why they do not have a demo right now. They like bailed out halfway through because they were getting paid and they left us So that's really, I had Jose here. We were building it out together, but you know, stuff happens. It's okay. But thank you guys. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate your time. No doubt. All right. We have, take a seat. Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. Questions. Does anybody have any questions for these guys? Come on, come back up here. You're not done. Do you have any questions about the app or anything like that? Technologies they use or anything?
So yeah, you mentioned the library that you use for facial recognition. What were some of your selection criteria and what libraries, alternative libraries, did you look at?
We mostly just use that one because it was open source and easy to use. So that's pretty much it. That was our selection criteria.
So you could find it
Simplicity.
and you could use it.
Yes.
That was good. Okay. Does that library surface any sort of confidence score?
Meaning
It typically a facial recognition library will say like, I'm 93% confident.
Oh,
that
yeah.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
the
that's what the threshold is relating to. So if it has like by default, I think the threshold is 0.6. So if the confidence is higher than 0.6, then it's going to register as a match.
Got it. And did you surface that to the user at the end?
No, we didn't. So we just have a default value for that.
Cool. That's all I had. Oh,
Part of the feature implementations that we wanted to add, like furthermore, besides the MVP, was that the user can adjust the tolerance level themselves through, input. So let's say they wanted to be like extra sure of the picture is like a higher percent of recognition, then they could like increase the level of percentage.
right.
Also, one more thing. Now that you bring that up, an easy feature to implement would be just displaying the confidence level that the AI has in the match, right? So we could just show that data to the user, and they could decide for themselves. But then later on, maybe we could implement some sort of threshold adjustability.
Cool. That's all I got.
Hi guys. First of all, great job. So you mentioned that one of the features that you would like to implement in the future was to analyze multiple images. So that requires a lot of processing, right? What do you think was the best option to scale your application so you can manage that kind of processing?
From what we're doing our researches, part of like some of the solutions, good implementations that we could use is instead of having them store like in our backend, have a cloud service so that then we can process it through there, and then we wouldn't have to incur in I mean, like that was the intention of the point of getting to. We at the beginning we were keeping it more simple and like storing it just in the backend server for like development purposes, but that's the end goal.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent job, guys. Thank you very much. That was really good. So I would assume you would like to sell this. Who would you market this to and how?
Well, honestly, we weren't thinking about selling it, so.
That's fine. That's fine.
Well, I can say that, I mean, at least I love pictures and images because they are, they're like, there are memories that we have, right? So I think an app that you can like manage pictures and have like different different features like that. Like, let's say you had like, this will be like a client success story. Like, for example, you had like graduation like many years ago and you don't remember your classmates and you have like this class picture, right? And then you'll be like, oh, I think I know this person. Then you can just submit it through there and then it will locate you. Because sometimes years pass and you like, we change, right? Well, face recognition is cool. I think it's cool because it takes a lot of math and there's a lot of things going under the hood, like so that you can actually like recognize the pictures. There's deep learning and stuff involved. So definitely, like I would say, as we were speaking with Shayla one day, like that's an application that photographers would love to have, for example. So yeah, I know what you're meaning, and I think it can be something cool that we can market if we complete it, and it's very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that, y'all. I actually didn't really ask them to worry about the money making thing. That's like bonus points. As bonus points. Not important if you ask me, not important at all. I believe next I have Angel and Gustavo. Here you go. These guys are team clock in. Clock in. I'm about to say go to work again.
Probando, probando, ok, ok, probando.
¿Me escuchan? ¿Sí? Ok.
Prueba la voz que tú vas a usar. Yo creo que sin micrófono me escuchan, ¿verdad? Pero
Not me, no. I mean,
hay gente online. There's people online.
good afternoon. I am Angel Gonzalez, and this is my partner.
Gustavo Ornedo.
Today we're going to be talking to you about Clock-In. It's a easy, fast, and reliable way to help people find jobs. As I mentioned before, my name is Angel Gonzalez. I am part of the Cohort 13 here in Holberton School. I am part of del Colegio Universitario de San Juan. I am working on my bachelor's degree. I shall graduate on December if everything goes great. And I also love to research and explore new technologies as well as to continue the development of my skills in the new areas and stuff I can find.
Okay, so as a type of icebreaker, I like to start always with my full name. Is Gustavo Jesus Osvaldo Ornedo Cruz. Yeah, definitely. You will never have guessed it, but I'm actually a student of Cohort 13 too. Anyway, before this, one of the main things I did with my life was an aircraft electrician with the Puerto Rico National Guard. I've done a lot of stuff, even in Alaska and Croix, but if I started talking, we'll be here until 6 p.m. Now, before I started this project, I already knew I was interested in the backend DevOps area, usually of programming, right? Throughout working with this project, I realized how much I actually enjoy or had a knack for playing with JavaScript and jQuery, okay?
So before we continue, can I see hands of who remembers Hurricane Maria? Yeah, you remember how everybody, your neighbors became friends, how the sound of the power plant in the background, the smell of gas, how we all became friends, we all united as one. But between all those good things, actually 98,000 people lost their jobs. Many lost their homes, including myself. As well as we also had the earthquakes in 2019, where 8,000 people had lost their house and homes and had to be relocated. And 46,000 others lost their actual homes and their jobs. They had to be transferred. So this starts creating a threshold, right, of employees that need work and another threshold of employers who actually need work because they're opening their businesses.
It also created a situation in which the internet infrastructure was not stable or reliable at that moment. So people that needed maybe to find jobs had trouble keeping their phone charged if they had to keep an app or something that required constant access to internet. And from this, we thought, hey, why not work with something that uses SMS for being a more stable way to communicate in a disaster sometimes. Besides disasters, we also have the situation that we're living still right now, right? The pandemic. How many people have lost their job? For a while there, almost the whole world stood still. And it's a situation about, hey, finding connecting the people with the right jobs. Instead of having them go through 1,000 different places to put their resume, why not have it in a place where the company is the one that does the filtering, is the one that does the search.
So yeah, basically, let's talk a little bit about Clock-In. It was created, this one's load. It was created by myself and my partner Gustavo Ornedo as part of our Cohort 13 portfolio project. It was a way to fulfill this demand that was being created that you see every day now in the news, that people can't find workers. They search, but no, they just can't find, or employees are just simply not going into their staff bench and asking for work. So this was a way to have the actual employer go and look for employees instead of the employer, the employees looking for work. And after seeing like by the previous this natural disasters and stuff, seeing so much suffering and seeing how people couldn't suffice themselves by stuff that they have no control over, this planted the idea of clocking in our minds. So we're going to talk about a little bit of our timeline. So the first few weeks were just basically market research. We were making sure that it was viable. We were making sure that it was good enough for users. People would be interested in it, where the development of the actual application was viable. We also distributed our tasks. We saw what was more important than other stuff, what was actually could be implemented during this timeline and whatnot, because we only had 2 weeks to actually prepare the code for the actual application. We had our landing page, our login forms, and user authentications creations.
Actually, Angel, before you move to that slide, I will say I gotta give credit here to Angel, because he actually went out, met with bar restaurant owners and stuff like that, and asked for their feedback, their input into what will be something that will propel them to use an app like this, or something that will discourage them. So he did that legwork, and I'm gonna say, dude, you went the extra mile there, so I applaud you, dude. Okay, so now going into the third week, the end of the third week, we came up with this markup. At this stage, nothing was functional, but it was moving on from what you saw in the previous slide, that orange thing that we like to call our Fisher Price iteration of the web page. If you can go back a little bit right now. I'm sorry, Angel, that I keep doing this to you. Whoop, whoop, go back. Yeah, this is what I call our Fisher Price, our first look into what we thought what may be your app and how it might look on a phone, right? But either way, we move on, we grew, and right, okay, let's go forward. All right, so now we come into the adult version. We have a markup, and we start working about bringing this to life through actual HTML and CSS. At the beginning, we thought we were going to just do this in 1 week with HTML and CSS, and we're like, you know what? We're going to have to put our boots on and start working with Bootstrap. We have not touched Bootstrap before, so suddenly 1 week into the project, we're like, Angel, you're going to have to... I
learned hard enough that you can learn Bootstrap in a week, so.
This guy, he definitely did.
So for our final product, we ended up doing, profile styling where people could actually see the information of each employee. We made it that they could see a picture of the actual employee, and they could see the actual experience and the skills that each worker had. We implemented some Jinja templating, so to make it dynamic, so we can, actually filter through our databases and show the users a final product.
Yes, because as we switch from one page to the other one, we wanted to keep our header, our navbar, and actually the footer static. So we didn't really, of course, wanted to have to copy paste basically that from one page to the other. So that's where Jinja 2 came in to help us do like an insertion, like, hey, this is going to be our base template or HTML. And from here, we're going to be inserting codes in different areas. Not only did we do this for the body, but for certain sections, so as to not have our JS scripts load on every single page. We wanted it to be like more, tailored, like, hey, this script is only going to be needed for this page. Also, the header is going to be common in all of them. Okay, about our technologies here, this is a design, I will say a flowchart that we made about how our server works. We ended up using AWS Lightcell to have a virtual machine that we could actually do stuff. I didn't want to use a hosting site or to use one of the AWS services that will do everything for us. So I just want, hey, I just want a virtual machine that's running and that I can do with it, that we can do with it what we want at any single time, right? So we ended up using Ubuntu 18. We kept having issues with the 16 version. They had some compatibilities, the issues with Flask. More than Flask, it was with one of the protocols of WSGI. Either way, for us, Ubuntu 18 was stable enough, and it's still, into a long-term support the situation. Now, when a user comes into the website that we're going to see soon in a live demo, it will be interactive web browser. Web browser communicates with Nginx, that is actual, is the one rendering the request, not rendering, but how you say it, meeting the request, right? So Nginx then uses the UWSGI protocol to communicate with our Flask application. This is the one, Flask to Python, that when you make a request, depending on the route, what is it that you want, whether it's a post, put, or a get method, it returns either the information or, as you're gonna see soon, sends or text messages. Now, why is it here like 3 lines instead of a single one like here in the socket? Well, it turns out with UWSGI, you can select how many workers you want. When you make a request like this, we decided, hey, we're only using a free tier version of AWS. The free tier version only gives me 1 virtual CPU. So the math told me that it should be 2 workers plus 1 by CPU. So let's go with 3 workers, okay? Perfect. Why did we choose SQLite for our database storage? Well, since we're still using ORM, Object Relational Mapper, we're using SQL Alchemy inside our Python code, we felt like using SQLite at this development stage was good enough. We do have experience with MySQL, but at this point, I only need to change like 5 lines in the whole code to change from SQLite to a MySQL server.
Also, smaller applications, like usually phone applications, use SQLite just because it's lighter. It's precisely because of that. It makes lighter databases and stuff.
Definitely. Thank you for that, Angel. So there we have it. A web interface, template rendering with Jinja 2, Nginx for serving the request, the protocol to communicate with the Flask Python library was UWSGI, and our database SQLite. One thing I will say about Flask, it was marvelous because it helped us with the login stuff and credentials, validating the users. Let's move on.
So right now we have a snippet of our front end. Right now, you can see we have our left, we have the actual user interface, and to the right, we have the actual code. So this code is actually accessible if you want to. It's in our GitHub. It is open to the public. People can see it, can explore it, can download it, manipulate it how they want to. And also the web page is actually live. So if they will allow us, we'll do a little live demo here.
Let's go do that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take it off my. Okay, so we're gonna go into a little live demo right now. Perfect. I do need where to put my mouse. Awesome. I should click here. Awesome. So
once you click to clockin.tech, you are sent to our landing page, where you will be greeted by a login button, login form, where you have to log in. You have to put your email and your password. Once you have your email and your password, you can log in.
Yeah, Gustavo.
So since Gustavo created our webpage, you can create a profile, right? We have 2 different profiles. You can create an employee profile and you can create a boss profile, right? So on your employee profile, on your boss profile, sorry, you can actually see your picture. You can have your about, letting people know about yourself, how many businesses you own, what type of business you own, what you're looking for, your contact information. And once you're looking for, say you're gonna look for let's say the cohort 13 survivors, which are right here in front of us, and we hit search, we have our people.
Let me zoom out for a little here.
So
Okay.
once you have your profile and you've seen all your profiles and you want to choose, say you want to contact myself, Angel Gonzalez,
Mhm.
and you want to send me a text message.
Yeah,
Be
we
like,
can, by the way,
oh, you
we
can see my
the
profile,
profile,
right?
the profile version that cannot be modified by the boss type user. There are some skills that you can add by yourself, and an about me section. Right now, Angel is gonna replace his profile picture. While he does that, I'm actually gonna go around, boom, boom, boom here, and go with the contact section. Why not? Here, I'm gonna send a message to Angel, boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna put the mic down and set it. Very much. Hey man, the jitters are killing me right now. I gotta be honest with you. Yeah. Now, besides C13 kind of stuff, we also have, just for fun, a little fun, BOD
Yeah.
for like board of directors.
We have the board of directors here. If you can search.
I keeps looking up. I'm sorry. Whoa! Oh, Cyril, Veronica, how you doing, Veronica? Adam. You got a message?
Yeah.
All right. Veronica says you're here. I'm gonna put here real fast. And if you haven't changed your number, you should be getting a text message soon.
So,
boom, boom, boom.
so if you received a message, Beto,
Okay.
whenever.
Oh, maybe I did put the wrong number. Either way, as you check the phone, we're gonna go back to Angel. Angel, have you been able to log into your profile?
I did.
Perfect. So let's search again now. For boom, 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 C13s, survivors. We do another search, and there we have it. Angel changed his profile picture, and we can see it right here. About a message. Did you get the message? Did you reply something?
No, I have not.
Oh man, come on. Why don't you?
Well, I haven't either. So try and contact me again.
Okay. Okay, a little bit of an issue. I put down Jandre's phone number for.
Then Yandres, if you can do
So
the favor.
Andrew, if you could please do the favor for me and reply, write something to this message.
That's what happens when you do things live.
Yeah. So we go to my messages section and they have, okay, just hello, come on, do a little bit better, please.
Yeah.
Do something more, more dynamic. Yeah. We can do, oh. Yeah, I'm gonna be a spammer. Here we go. Yeah, you can reply too. Please say something. Like,
If you could reply, that'd be great.
see, Veronica, I tried to surprise you. I wasn't sure if you were coming. Damn, I should have checked with the number with you. Okay, we go back here. As a boss, I'm gonna look back at my messages. I see he's still typing. Oh, we got something else from Angel. Número equivocado, caballero. Okay, wrong number, man. It's understandable. So here's the thing, like, right, as I was mentioning before, SMS is more stable in a situation like after the hurricanes where internet connectivity was spotty, and having an app running 24/7 on your phone for looking for the job was painful because there was no electricity. And in situations like this, we need something that's like more reliable, okay?
We also wanted to have something where the user, not only would they receive something on their phone, they could go somewhere and actually have an archive of it and be like, oh, I received this message from this person as time.
Oh, look at Jaime. He was being good to us. You guys are doing great, you know? We appreciate you, Jaime. We do appreciate you. Okay, so now we have seen how the boss may interact how we can do the search, how about I do a logout? And I'm gonna go inside one of the user profiles, okay? So you can see how he can modify the skills. Angel m.com. Very much. All right, you're full. Okay, Angel. Nice
So-
to see you again.
So for the moment, we only want the employer to make the request, but we want the user to be able to upload, to refresh and add or remove skills as they acquire them, or just don't feel like they want to work in that field anymore. So
Right now,
any of this, doesn't matter if you remove it. If you refresh it but not save it, it won't make any change in the page.
right now, I deleted basically all the fields or the areas that he was interested in. I'm gonna go back to the homepage, come back to the profiles, and since I didn't save it, we're gonna have it back up. I'm gonna do a simple delete. All of this was done through GS. I really hated the fact that when we initially did the search in the profile box, the whole page was reloading because we were using a form. And that's when we decided to, hey, let's really do this through JS so we can communicate directly with the backend, get this information, and not have to reload the page. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna go back to the home profile, and there we have it, the skills that were left after our experience, boom, boom, boom. So yeah, we're not gonna go through the process, but if I do log out, I wanna show you guys also our sign up process, validation. If we leave any of the fields empty, it's gonna, hey, please fill this out, come on. Anyway, I'm gonna say, and I gonna stretch, guys. We knew nothing about Bootstrap, and we knew nothing about validating a user 2 weeks ago. So for us, from a Fisher Price model onto this, hell yeah, man, we did it, man.
Yeah, it was a real adventure going from that orange background to like an actual functional web page web page, sorry, that like people can actually interact with. So we're actually gonna go back to the
And that will render really well on any phone.
So like I said, this code is actually live. If anybody can see it, it's on our GitHub. So
if you want to upset the website, it's clockin.tech, right?
Oh yeah,
So
you can actually
play around.
access it if you guys
Make a
feel like it.
profile. Text me. Let's text.
So what's next for Clockit? So we pretty much implemented everything we wanted, but we're missing key features for employers. We want them to be more detailed on their stuff. They're able to access and like communicate with the employee. We want actually the employee to actually have more information about themselves, say the experience that they might have in the past. We want when they are contracted in a job post in our web page, that is automatically updated into their profile. So, people don't have to keep adding into their skills and their experiences and stuff. So it will be automatically updated.
Yes, and right now, even though it's living up as a web app, we intend to make it into a phone app. We know it. We can do this.
We sort of want this to be like a ride sharing app, but instead of ride sharing, just be like a job sharing, where you can say I have 4 hours left. I got out of work at 6. I can go into a random shift at 7 as a bartender, say something like that. If I use as an example, and you go into the app, somebody calls you, be like, oh, I got a part from 8 to 12. It's $6 plus tips, and you're like, yes or no? No. Okay, cool. I'll find another job. Yes, there's another. I'll go in. I'll be there. Here's the information. You can go. You can work.
No, yes, definitely, because imagine your transmission breaks down, suddenly the AC falls out of the window, you need some extra money this week, you go into the app and, hey, I'm available, I'm on call, and see what pops up because I need something extra besides my regular job. So that will be an end goal situation here.
So for our challenges, we had technical and non-technical challenges. For our non-technical, it was mostly getting users to interact with the page. For this, we, as Gustavo told you, we went to different meetings with different owners of different companies, different warehouses, restaurants, bars, and other companies that usually have easy. I don't want to say easy jobs, but like easy come employees, where like today
High
you have one
rotation,
and
high
tomorrow,
rotation.
yeah, high demand as well. So we had to create like the confidence for the user, for both users, the boss for it to post the job, to feel comfortable enough for somebody to look at their job and their business. And we also needed a user to feel comfortable enough to accept the job.
Right. So now in the technical area, compatibility errors, user authentication, server malfunction. When I mean compatibility, I will say like, how portable was this code? At the beginning, when we started this, I have never played around with Python virtual environments. We have used Vagrant, but that's for like the whole OS. Here we found out, hey, we can use virtual venv. All the new libraries that we install is going to be local to this area. It's not going to modify the rest of the OS. And when we need to deploy, put it into a server, we can use the requirements to just, hey, these are the ones that I need for this project to work. Boom. Database management, as we mentioned, we're using SQLite, but with an object relational mapper from SQL Alchemy, so that we can change that without having to change any more of the code. Just, hey, we're going to use this one. This is the login information, connect, and everything else is going to stay the same. And database corruption, of course. We need to protect about the SQL injections, and several malfunction. In this case, we went with AWS. We thought it was going to be less likely for the power to go out over there at Amazon during the presentation, that if I put it in my computer right here, and like, internet is down or something. Anyway.
So
Okay,
we also had an issue with single-time users. Users that just log in once, find an employee, fill the job that they want, and then they never use the app again. But we actually came to the conclusion, not only conclusion, but feedback gathering and stuff, that actually even though they're a single-time user, they're still going to keep the app because they might need it later. So they might be a single-time user at the moment, but they might use it 2-3 months later because they might need another employee.
So yeah, this is a quote that we both like, and we put it up. I will say, always code as if the guy who ends up maintaining your code will be a violent psychopath who knows where you live. Okay, guys, so documentation is key. Use variables that are actually descriptive of what they are doing. So
describe your code.
At this moment, I will say we're open up for questions, so hit us up.
Gotta love it, right? You gotta love it. I spent 9 months, 10 months with these guys. Great. Nothing but laughs all the time. So questions, please. I didn't forget this time. Questions, please. Yes, we have questions online too. Let's start. Why not?
We do. We have Lauren, and she's saying, great project. Love that you guys got into AWS too. Had you been given more time to progress the project, can you talk about how you could implement some intelligence, for example, to begin to learn which industries are suffering the most and have the greatest need for workers, or perhaps on the employee side, what time of the year pays the most or has labor shortage?
Well, we actually did a lot of feedback gathering. So we basically wanted to maintain this for 4 or 5 job categories, but we ended up adding more because we found out that there were more fields that actually needed gig workers to say a word. But we
see, we don't want to put the stress on the app about it being the one recommending jobs for you. We want it to be a situation where it says, hey, this is where I am at, this is what I'm good at, this is what I know. And here you have a simple, reliable way to communicate directly with me in a matter of seconds. Right now, we get so many emails that sometimes we don't look them over for like 2-3 days, or they just keep piling up. Or usually a text, a message is something that oh, okay, I got a text message, this must be important, or a call. I think the question was something about AI, right? And I think they covered it. Mhm, mhm.
How could you
No-
implement some intelligence, like learning which industries are suffering the most from, have the greatest need for
Mhm.
gig workers, or on the employee side, which time of year pays more so that they can also adjust their
It will
fees or
be a
what they're
good
offering?
feedback. It will be a good feedback. Even we have in the user box in the search result, we are hoping to add a rating section. As you complete jobs in here, you're gonna see and you're gonna be able to choose, hey, this is the rating, this is the experience the user has in the app. How can we prevent a user from just, oh, I had a bad experience or I had a bad rating, I'm gonna delete this and move to another one. We can use records, just like right here in Puerto Rico, almost any job requires you a criminal background check given by the local police. For businesses, we will be requiring like documentation. It's not, I can say I have a business and that's it. We will be some documentation needed. Yes, that's.
One last question from the people who are watching. You may have answered this because this was a question that was posed a while ago. What language are you using for the app?
Python will be the main one.
Python main one. Okay.
Python will be the programming language that will.
Okay. Okay.
The
Thank
front
you.
end
Those
is
were the
relies,
questions from.
the front end actually relies heavily on JavaScript, I will say, mostly because we didn't want somebody to hit a button, do a search or something, and having the whole page reload, or having necessary like, hey, I only need this information. I don't need the images. I don't need nothing else. I only need this information. So let's communicate with the backend, give it to the front and display it.
With what framework? Flask?
Yes, Flask.
Great work, guys. So managing an infrastructure in AWS sometimes can be very annoying or complicated, time consuming. I noticed that you decided to build the whole infrastructure yourself. Why you decided to do that instead of using a service that fully manage your infrastructure?
I'm gonna make it more individual here because I will say I'm very interested in the backend jobs, DevOps type of thing. So for me to just come here and say, oh, I just used this place that did it for me, I was gonna be like a disappointment in myself, I will say. So yes, we did a research. We thought, hey, AWS has a free trial version. So as long as it don't go by 30 days, I'm still free. So right now, and we could manipulate it as we wanted. What issue did we have with AWS at the beginning? As we were configuring the server and the firewall, I'm sorry. Yeah, like everything was like, endless. Oh, everything is good, but why cannot we connect still? And it turns out that the firewall settings we were modifying inside the machine actually depend on the ones outside on the container of the AWS settings. We were like, hey, Angel, I've been here 3 hours. We haven't do this, see what you can do. And he's like, oh, so let's go into networking that says in AWS. We hit at the networking and there are the firewalls. I'm like, okay, so we spent all this time playing inside the machine with the firewall and we had to do it outside with AWS.
Okay, another question. So since you're storing user information, phone number, emails, maybe some sensitive information, do you consider like encrypting your database or how to protect that information?
No, at this stage, we didn't worry about encryption, just the password. We did an MD5 hash for the process.
We just wanted a minimal viable product where, here people can go in and like actually see how it would work in a manner of in a concept, how the concept would work. But yeah, definitely we feel like we need more improving in our webpage. As Gustavo said, we want to add, more stuff. We want to add a rating. We actually want to add stuff where it actually tells you how efficient you are per your search. Say you're looking for a programmer and a developer in different fields. You can see how much we want to see how much of set skills the person that you found is actually efficient in, from 0 to 100%.
Thank you, guys.
So yes, as you mentioned, like right now it is by field. we want to expand it into two type of job. Like if you need something right now, then we'll be into like a field kit category. If it is something looking more like long-term, then we will go more into skills, individual skills. So I'm searching for 5 skills. The users that will pop up will be in an order of like, hey, this one matches 100%, 75%, 50%, all of the way down to maybe the one that only has one of the skills that you are looking for.
Excellent. Well, number one, congratulations. It seems like a really good project. I was quite impressed. I have to tell you that I really enjoyed your storytelling aspect when you did your presentation. It resonates with the user most definitely. And I love the fact that you took that into account. That was for me really important. Now, however, I wanted to ask you, when you were doing the prototype for your user interface, did you show your Fisher-Price model to your users? You know, were you able to get some feedback from those users with your Fisher-Price model or whatever it looked like afterwards?
So I can actually tell you that him right there called it ugly.
Okay.
He called it ugly like 6 times.
Low
16
resolution
times.
prototype. It looked beautiful
Yeah.
to me.
And we were so proud of our Fisher-Price webpage. That would look ugly. But we were so proud of it, and we started, taking feedback from the different teachers, different and students, people that pass by our class and stuff. So we would just try to make it as user friendly and as visual friendly as possible.
Great. And then another question: how would you compare this, if you would compare this, to something such as LinkedIn or Monster or any of one of those platforms?
So we feel this platform are in the long-term type of employment thing. One of the things this project is basically, I will say, Angel's baby. He's the one that had the idea. I was the dog realengo looking for a project to do. He talked to me about his, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's make this come to life. But as I kept hearing his story, what was the drive behind him, I realized for me it was more of a situation of, hey, I'm sure this week I need to make $200. I don't have the weapons to rob a bank, maybe. And, I would love to be able to just, hey, get me to job. This is what I have done. This is my experience. Can you get me something for tonight? There in the service industry, there are many situations when suddenly you are short staff, like too short, and you're like, what can I do now? So we want this to be an option, definitely viable, the solution for this.
So if you see a web page like LinkedIn, or Indeed, or any other like Monster, you are doing the search, right? So you are applying. It usually goes through a machine. It gets verified before it goes into actual hands of a person. So you, for example, we are applying right now. We're applying to different types of jobs, and we're not getting any replies, or sometimes we're just getting replies. What we wanted is for people don't have to wait weeks or days for a response that they even might not even get, So here is just a way of like, I need the employee right now. I can go into this page and I can get an employee right now. And on the other side, it's like, I need a job right now. I can go into this page and I can find a job in the next 2-3 hours. So we just wanted to make it a little bit more user-friendly.
I loved it. Thank you very much.
Great presentation, guys. You answered a lot of my questions just through the presentation itself. So great job there. I really like the decision to use SMS. It was very thoughtful and got you guys a lot of benefits without having to build such things like notification in app and things like that. So great design decision there. I do have 2 questions for the UWSGI. You don't really need to learn that to deploy a Flask application. So what was the impetus to go that deep into how the framework actually worked and learn that it was a Unix socket under the hood and those things?
Okay, so when I was trying to serve Flask with Nginx, I kept finding that everything I had to do with the protocol of USWGI because it seemed to was like built into the Flask thing. And although I don't have to learn USWGI thing, I had to configure some files so that for the socket, we created a socket so that Nginx will communicate with the app. And that's what I learned about the UWSGI in that init configuration file. We put stuff in there for it to be like a dial turn kind of thing. We realize if this was running in the background process, we're not aware of it, killing it can sometimes be a pain in the something that, and we so dial turn, for example, is an option that will allow it to kill it in a regular way with a sig term signal. Yes, we actually didn't want it to be a situation that if the server went down or if rebooted, we have to go in and manually boot it up and make it run. So we went into like the system CTLT, and we make another configuration so that it will be like a daemon. It will run at startup. So if you go into the server, you do like, hey, start SD system TLC and clock in that service. It's actually a service that's running in the servers. You can either stop, kill it, reload it as we do changes.
And so final question. So we're entering hurricane season. Imagine there's another hurricane and 100,000 people come to your site next week. How do you scale it from where you are today?
No. It's a very true, very very real question. Now, here's where some of the magic might come into something that I already mentioned like 2 times. What do we have? An object relational mapper to access our database. When we store the images and the stuff, we just, for example, in the profile, we just give it the user ID name for the pictures and different stuff. So we will just maybe change to a MySQL server. We already have experience working with load balancers within HA project, like manually. And we will just, hey, how many servers do you think we got? We need, don't. Oh, okay, these 3 servers right now.
On our actual code is actually very, I want to say transferable, because we can actually switch from SQLite to MySQL by just changing a few lines, because we're basically using about the same structure. So.
And even right now, if we were to take the code to any other server, if this one got destroyed completely, suddenly we have to start from scratch. We from Holberton learned to, hey, if you gotta do it once, how about you do a script for it so that if a situation happens, you already know what you have to do or something that can do it for you in an instance. So we were very focused. So in our actual repo, before you get into it will be the web application, you have many configuration files, and it will be like, hey, run the script for install the engines, configure this, blah, 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 book it in. And the virtual env for Python, I gotta say, was a great tool that we learned here, because so many libraries that we will normally, hey, pip install SQLAlmy, pip install Flask, pip install USWGI, pip install, no. With pip, we already in our virtual environment, we can do just pip freeze, we get a file with all those packages that we need, and in the other one is pip install all of this. We're almost ready to serve. But right now, if we got today 1,000 requests, let's say, it will probably go beyond the burst bubble, right? The burst bubble. I didn't imagine 1,000 people doing it today, but in the short solution might just be to go with one of the other services of AWS for scaling out while we do our own thing in the background, sir.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Thank you very much, y'all. Thank you very much, Angel Gustavo. And I'm gonna give you a trick. Next time you say that is a great problem to have, and I look forward to having that problem, okay? It's a good way to pass the buck right back to him. All good. Okay, so we have one more group left, certainly last but definitely not least. These guys are go to college, and we have Jaime and Joshua. They've been sitting up here so patient. Gotta love it. Let me get it together.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jaime Martinez. My partner is Joshua Lopez. We are team Go to We are team Go to College. We are here to help you to define your professional future today. Charlie. That's Charlie. No worry. Talking about a little bit about me, I'm Jaime Martinez, as I say. I have a bachelor degree of computer science. I graduated from my bachelor degree last year. Last year, I started on Holberton, starting the software development program. I pretend to pursue a specialization on front-end website development. I do some freelance front-end development to just for fun and money, right? And to grow my portfolio so I can have a portfolio when I finish my time on Holberton, right? So talking a little bit more about work, I want to talk about the contributions that I made on this project. So I work with the demo or the structure, the web infrastructure. I designed the website using Figma. Had developed the front end using tools or technologies like HTML5, CSS3, Bootstrap, and I did a little bit of JavaScript and jQuery.
Hi, my name is Joshua Lopez. I'm also one of the new students here. I am, like Gustavo, I've actually worked in a lot of different stuff. I took a little bit of college in mechanical engineering, didn't liking it. I also got a little bit into computer science, and I also didn't end up, liking that as well. So my contributions here were mostly the machine learning algorithm that we're going to be using to manage the tests. We're going to be using it to manage the test and make the predictions based on the preferences of some of the users, right? So I want to, before we begin, I want to ask a little question to see like how we can relate, right? I wanted to know how many of you actually like knew what you wanted to study or what you wanted to do in college, right? Yes, no? Yes, all right, so like half maybe. Okay, yeah, of course, us as well. So I also wanted to ask if you changed your concentration at any point. Yes? Perfect. Okay. So that's the same thing that happened to the both of us. And when Jaime came to me with his idea, we instantly clicked. I immediately jumped on it, and we started doing a little bit more research. And so what we found was that here in Puerto Rico, we only get around 43%, or in this case, 57% of the students that go into college and don't end up graduating. We also found that in our personal survey, we found that 77% of the students that we asked did not know what they wanted to study initially. They just kind of jumped into one and then decided. And around 53% of those students ended up switching from their original choice, right? So what is Go to College? We are making, or Go to College is a platform to help students, or not necessarily just students, but also people that want to go back to college, to narrow down or even select a more specific career and school. So we wanted to make something a little bit more robust than what tools are already available, right? So I'm gonna pass on to.
One of the main focus of Go to College is connect people with university, connect people with counselors, connect people with social workers, so they can manage how to get the people that use our platform to get the right path or professional path. So one of the things that we found is when the social worker on the school try to guide the person to get to the college, they don't give you the proper information, they don't give you the proper output. So the people just go to college or go to university, and as Joshua say, they end up switching from careers, right? So
yeah, they either end up switching or just entirely transfer out and never finished, right? So to talk a little bit more in depth of how it works and how we're implementing it, I'm gonna leave Jaime with the next slide.
So this is a prototype of something that we put together about the technology architecture, the technology of web infrastructure. So we are using a server, a web server, that contains our MySQL database that contain a RESTful API that are communicating through the front end and let the user interact with the back end. We are intend to use a machine learning model. So the machine learning model interact with our database and show outputs to the user, right? So next. The timeline of this project, we start planning and we start making mock-ups and models about how we wanted the looks for the website, what technologies we can use, so that we using whiteboards, we using scripts and all the things that we can use for the website, and we put together something pretty nice. So after that, we do research about what technology we can use, and we divide the tasks, so we can work together. So after that, we initialize the coding part.
So after we divided up the tasks because we had different specialties, let's say, we then started to develop the actual code and just the raw static pages, the actual model, stuff like that. After that, we started the testing and debugging phase, which ended up helping us in a sense, because we originally ended up switching just like Angel and Gustavo, we ended up switching our original page, and we ended up switching from, at least for the demo, from the machine learning model to a just JavaScript direct visual representation of the test. Right. After that, we then deployed it and tested it and did the same thing again, but just a little bit more refined.
So one of the challenges that we find, or we consider we can find on the timeline or the track with the project, it's a connection with the Department of Education. So one of the main data that we trying to use is the data from the student. We try to get this application to the Department of Education, so they can use it on the process to enroll a student to the college. So we're trying to convert this challenge to an opportunity, not just for the students, not for the educational department. They have tools, they have information they can use it just in one place. They can reduce effort, they can reduce paperwork, and have a nice product.
So after that, we decided to think about what competition we had, what other choices people made, what solutions already existed. So we had the counselors, we had the aptitude test that people take online and stuff like that. So we, instead of just kind of fighting against that current, we decided to embrace it and reach out to counselors. We researched a bunch of online tests that already exist, not only to define our questions a little bit better and maybe to understand how people were approaching it already, but to also incorporate the experience of or the personal experience of the counselors in that scenario.
One of the other opportunities that we can find is connecting with college, connecting with universities. We can give you the opportunity to these institutions to cut their expenses, because they can reduce costs on marketing, they can reduce costs on telemarketing, calling students, and they can focus the effort on the correct candidate, because we try to implement this application so that college or university can access the database and collect information about students, so they can contact that students in the best ways.
All right, so now we're gonna give you a little bit of a demo of how the website works, how it looks, and what we can do with it, right?
So this is our landing page. On the landing page, we can find information about the application, what we do, what is our main goal, some features that you can find over the application. So can you please type? So there is a section so you can talk about what is go to college, what is the advantage of about to go to college. Let's go. The person can take the test. You don't even they're registered on the platform, so they can take advantage. They can play with the test. For this version, we only do the test. We try to implement other stuff that we have in mind for the future. So include them. So you can click on go to the homepage. So this is the homepage. Basically, it's pretty similar to the landing page, but in this case, we got incorporate information about us. Can click about us. This is about us. We got a section for the test. We got a section for academics. Even the person is not registered to the website, they can access our programs. They can access our academics. So the main goal is having all the degrees, all the careers that the university offers in Puerto Rico. They have in one place and one click. So the student or the user don't have to go all over the internet, all over to the universities to find information. So you have it over there. So for a prototype, we are managing, we are developing dashboards, right? So when the user is registered, he can find his dashboard with the information, the profile. We want a part that we create a career plan. Another part they get notification from us, the administration, or from for college or institutions. We got a part from appointments. So they can make appointments on important dates, like dates like deadlines for admission, deadline for open houses. They can review institutions. We want to add some resources part so they can find books, PDF, or other information. Financial help, we want to add on that place, they can find financial help, scholarship, or other things, and jobs. So the other dashboard, we still managing that one, but basically what we want to have in the institutional dashboard is the search, the institution can make a search, find a student that actually match what degree or career the user prefer, right? So we don't want to have the institutions have the whole information on the student, because if the institution doesn't offer engineering, so they shouldn't access that information for the student, right? So what we want to do here, it's like a match or pairing student with college that actually offer that kind of career. So other things that the institutional profit dashboard can offer, it's reports. They can print reports, they can print statistics, and so other things. We're still managing that.
Yeah, we're also planning on implementing student matrix, so metrics, I'm sorry, so that the institutions can then use them to either refine their courses or maybe add, remove, depending on what trends are happening with the students that year or in that time.
Now we're going to the part of the test. That's the minimum viable product that we have right now. We are still working on the stuff for the application. So in this case, I'll leave Joshua for this.
So I was in charge of the test design and the logistics of behind the test. I'm gonna wait for Jaime to start. Okay. Yeah. So our test, this test is our minimum viable test, right? So it was the very least we could show you that would still transfer our idea, right? We wanted to give questions to students that didn't incur their own biases, so they didn't necessarily choose against their own nature. They would, if it was me, I would probably answer based on what I want and not necessarily on what I should want, right? Because I don't already know it. So we wanted to incorporate different questions such as preferences and categories of those questions, such as maybe art questions, engineering questions, business questions. This test right here actually has those three categories, and depending on which combinations you choose, it will have a set answer, which the final product will not, because it will depend on your academic history, it will depend on your preferences, and it will depend on, well, your external preferences, which would be if you wanted to have a technical degree, if you wanted to have a bachelor's or graduate. It depends on if you want to go outside to study, if you want to stay here in Puerto Rico. So we wanted to have that personalization aspect to it, and that's why we chose to also implement the machine learning algorithm. So right now we're going to give you a demonstration of how the test works. Yes, let's do that. So if somebody wants to answer our questions so that we can show you maybe how it works. Okay. Dale el micrófono. All right, so okay, so are you open to work internationally?
Oh, come on.
Are you open to work internationally?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Can you picture yourself maybe working late nights, stuff like that?
No.
Understandable. Do you prefer to work in a group?
Yes.
Or by alone? Perfect. You like planning, organizing, creating structure?
Yes.
Perfect. How about religion, history, politics?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Are you creative, artistic, maybe musical?
No.
So we wanted to incorporate broad questions and that weren't as direct or literal to actually counteract that bias. Do you enjoy going to the theaters, to the movies?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Do you like writing, painting,
Yes.
design? How about beauty, fashion, trends?
No.
No. Do you like languages, learning new ones? Maybe?
Yes.
Yes. How
Yes.
about commercials, advertising, marketing, social media?
Yes.
Do you think it's important to follow laws, rules?
To.
That one's the fun one.
Yes.
Good answer. How about information, communication, media, TV?
No.
No. Okay. Do you like hosting parties? Maybe fancy dinners, meetings,
Yes.
stuff like that? Yes. Are you service-minded? Do you like working with people? Can you manage the stress of the moment?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Do you enjoy building things with your hands? Getting
Yes.
in the dirt,
Yes.
right? Construction, stuff like that. Do you like the STEM fields? Do you have any of the STEM fields, whether it's science, technology, engineering, math?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Do you like to understand how things work internally, how they are made and how they're built?
Yes.
And are you a handyman? Do you enjoy fixing things? Do you enjoy working with them directly and maybe
Yeah, just in my
fixing
house.
problems?
Yes.
Okay. And also, are you interested in electronics or up-to-date technology?
Yes.
Something similar. Perfect. So, right. So that's actually what we got, right? We got software engineer, and our questions don't just have their own weights. Depending on your answer and depending on the questions, they do have relationships in between them. So depending if you, for example, like marketing, but you also like working with your hands, you would probably get something else. We don't really want just to say business, art, or engineering. We really want to show you which path you should take a little bit more detailed, right? And more than that, we also would like to refer you to the best school or institute or university or whatever you want to do that is within your preferences already. So that is our presentación para atrás.
Okay. Thank you.
That was our demo. Thank you so much.
So, what is next for Go to College? We pretend to collect data. We need to collect data because our product rely on data, right? So the data we pretend to collect is from students, users, college, university. The other thing that are important on the next steps to Go to College, it's build or
Refine.
develop, make a research about making a machine learning
So
algorithm.
I'm sorry, the algorithm is actually made, but the model was not reaching the accuracy that we needed. And so we didn't want to show you something that didn't really fit the description that we were giving you.
So the other part or important part that is next in the on Go to College is the collaborations. We need collaborations with the community. We need collaborations with the universities. We need collaboration with the schools so we can bring all together and work it out this application. The other part that we are working on, still working, figure it out about is the institutional dashboard. We need to put something together that can be useful for the institutions, for the social workers, for the users. So that part is very important.
And we also wanted to scale it eventually and not just have it here in Puerto Rico, but for it to be able to just move into different places, not just the US, not just Puerto Rico, because the questions and the answers will depend on also the culture of the place. So we wanted to be able to move that platform to other places that we could also incorporate it on, as well as having interactions between those places to further the feedback information to the model. And
That's all.
That's all. Thank you very much.
Oh, you gotta love it. Oh, Jaime, Joshua, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But we got some questions. Y'all ready? Don't get too comfortable now. Got any questions online, Mercy? Okay. Questions from the judges?
So I mean, I guess my biggest question is, how do you know when it works? In other words, what are the metrics that what is the data that you're going to look at to say this has had a positive impact, or we know that this is accomplishing what we want it to accomplish?
So our original data is going to be gathered by actual students that are either from high school students to first years college to refine the model at first. After that, we're going to be having a follow-up to the students, maybe 2-3 years into it, to see if they actually switched, if they stayed in it, did they like it, did they not? And by gathering that information, we want to feed it back into the algorithm again, which is kind of the main point of the algorithm, so that we don't have to tweak its biases or its weights. It'll do it by itself marginally.
So the metrics would be happiness, whether or not they switched majors, and dropping out.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things that I think it's important, we have to track data from the website. We have to track information on the website, how the users are moving from the website, what career they're more interested, tienen más interés, ¿verdad? So it's important to us monitoring that movement of the activity of the user on the platform. Also, we should be gathering information from college, gathering information for other institutions that use our application. So if they manage to enroll the student into an institution, so that's all the information that we can count.
Cool.
So here's the thing. I do this professionally. So I love this. I could stay here asking you a million questions. I'm not going to do that. However, I would suggest, taking into account, most of the time, and I'll ask the audience, when you go to a counselor, they'll tell you specifically what the university offers. They won't go beyond that. I don't know if that has been anybody's situation, but it was mine for sure. And they didn't have the answers that I was looking for in college. They really didn't. And I had to look at that path for myself and actually make that path for myself. Professionally, when I did that afterwards, I'd been working in college for more than 20 years, and the same thing was happening. I had counselors, there were really good counselors. However, they didn't know beyond what we had offered. So I would say be mindful of that. Counselors won't necessarily have the answers. The answers come into play when the student has different experiences in life. That is what allows them to define this works for me or this doesn't, or I actually like that. Because their previous experience, most of the time, has been 12 years of theory in school of English, Spanish, and science that don't allow them to explore beyond what the theory says, right? So I would say take into account experience and providing an experience for your user to help them define what they actually enjoy. Because most of the time when they change their course of action or study is because they thought of this as accounting was great because I was good in numbers. So they make that type of connection, but they actually haven't experienced what accounting is. And when they do that, they actually find out they don't like accounting. So help them figure out that path. And I would also say, I'm here to help. So if you need, and take into account mentors or life coaches, they will help you a lot defining this. I think the app is something that is very much needed. I think there's a lot of refinement in terms of what you're doing with it. But I do think that this is incredible. So I applaud you for that.
Yeah, one of the things that we are planning to do is sit down with psychologists, sit down with counselors, sit down with people that can help and knows about the area. Yeah. So in other part of the dashboard that is very important is the institutions can upload the information. We review the information, we approve the information. So if they have a basketball team, if they have art department or something like that, so that's kind of thing that define the path of the student.
And in Puerto Rico, parents have a lot of say in students, like, unfortunately, I'm a parent myself, but unfortunately, parents had a lot of say into that. So somehow you have to figure out how you make that component work for the student, not the parent, but for the student.
So one thing we wanted to address was that, because whilst talking to some counselors, they did mention that continuously that most of the decisions was made by the parents. So what we decided to incorporate was a button. We don't have it right now, but we did want to have like a button which would say, I am the person filling this, just in case. And we also wanted to make sure that the information that we give back to the student, whether it's a career choice, whether it's the school, to give the proper reasoning for it, to give maybe a stand against the parents. Right.
Excellent. Really good.
Thank you.
It's actually not a question, but something to think about in the design of the test. Two ways. So the yes and no can lead to some interesting choices, right? If you instead phrase the question as, do you prefer A or B? Now you're actually putting some context into the question that will cause them to think, I guess, in more of a relative way as to, do I really like this thing or would I prefer this other thing, as opposed to a yes, no.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sometimes when apps like these are created, they have a certain blind spot for students that are in a situation that the reason they stop studying is for economic reasons. Would your application in the time of recommending a certain career path, would it take economic situations?
Yes. So in our preferences, we have basically two preferences, right? The actual test will ask you some personal questions about how you prefer to work. And before that, you will fill out your profile. And in your profile, you will choose certain preferences. So whether that be nearby schools or nearby areas. It will have how much it will cost or how much you're willing to pay for your college, right? It'll also have the type of scholarships or which scholarships they all take into consideration, actually. So the main purpose for the project is the students. So the one person that we're not going to be charging is the students. Obviously, they are our source. So our main market will be the institutions, the counselors. We're also planning on adding a counselor's dashboard so that they can manage the students better. And maybe there's already platforms working on that, but seemingly incorporating that into Puerto Rico, which is doesn't have one of those big platforms, will help a lot in that regard.
All right. Anybody else? More questions or anything like that? Going once, going twice. I'll take that. Well, thank you very much, Joshua and Jaime. I appreciate that. Again, this is cohort 13, our first graduating cohort. And right now, if the judges could please do that deliberation thing and decide which was your favorite. They are all winners, but which one was your favorite? I would like that very much. And anyone else? You can go get waters or whatever. We got little light refreshments in the back, Sprites, Coca-Cola, little sweets and all that stuff. Please help yourself. Oh, and one more thing. Could I have cohort 15 stand up? My newest students, could y'all please stand up for me? I get cohort 15. Say what's up, y'all. That's gonna be them in 9 months. And I got a couple of C14 students here, but they can stand up too. Come on. Caroline, Christian, everybody. Yeah, it's great stuff. All right, y'all can sit back down now. I'm done. We're done. All right, everybody, go get some something. I don't know. Stand on stage, watch out. Stand on stage.
Yep. So I just want to say for the people who are watching us live on Facebook and through the Zoom app, stay there. We'll be back in like 5 to 10 minutes to let you know which team was selected as the winner of today's presentation. Although, like Shayla said, everybody's a winner. And the judges' scoring doesn't affect their final grade, whether they pass or not. So, but please just hang in there and we'll be back in a few minutes.
All right. Next time I'm not feeding nobody. It's too much. Come on, let's bring it back in. Let's announce the winners. Let's all get out of here if y'all don't mind. You can do the powwow stuff continuing. Next time, get no food for nobody. No food for you. No food for you. No food for you, especially. Definitely no food for you, Jeffrey. Yeah, just real quick, closing remarks, announcement of the champ, the best presentations, maybe an honorable mention or two, all that good stuff. Thank you very much. Provecho. Okay, so
Everybody calls me Sybil. Don't do that.
I would never. Because people call me Kala all the time, and it's definitely not my name. Okay, so the bravest of all our judges was Sibel right here. And she would like to announce the winners. If you guys could stand up and give her a little bit of your attention for a little while, that'd be pretty great. What's in those cups? Anyway, come on up. Yeah, I know. Tea, I know.
Oh, hello, everyone. Good afternoon for the ones that you stayed. Congrats for staying. Thank you for being part of this. On behalf of the judges, I want to say thank you to Holberton for allowing us to be a part of this experience. I think we love, and I would say on my behalf, we love sharing time with you guys. That's one of my highlights. So I don't know if you guys get out of the office much, but sharing time with young adults, it just amazing. And I always love because I learn a lot from that experience. So thank you for that. All the projects were really good. Ones were stronger than others. You know, having said that, we want to say that our winning team for today is, drum roll please, is there that? We have a drummer here, and there we go. Clock in. So congratulations.
Hey.
You did an excellent job. I would say that we all agreed on the fact that you were very centered on your user. You were really, your design was based on your user, and that for us was really important. We love the fact that you troubleshooted very well and that you adapted what you had to adapt for your user. So we have to thank you for that, and it was really good. And thank you again to all of you. I don't know if any one of the judges wants to say anything else. No, they're eating. Buen provecho. Yes. Okay, go.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that, we understood that it wasn't entirely a level playing field for the Find My Face team with two members finding a job in the middle. So we wanted to give an honorable mention to Jose for completing the project and really seeing it through.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Yes, they work so hard. Oh man, it's pretty great. So that's pretty much it. We do have one thing though. I found out it's somebody's birthday today. Oh man. So if you all could join me real quick and wish you Gustavo, my man right here. My lead student tutor. He loves chocolate. That's his favorite thing ever. Happy birthday to Gustavo. Happy birthday, man. Yeah. Cumpleaños feliz. Cumpleaños feliz. Bravo. Cumpleaños feliz.
Se está poniendo viejo.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all we have for the day. I appreciate all the judges' time. I appreciate everyone for coming through and celebrating our first graduation with us. And remember, software rules the world, and you're just in it. Thank you, guys.